Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome, one and all, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour live on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Tensudi. This is the Penguin lover himself, Michael Klankoff.
Hello.
And right behind the board, we have Mr. Frank Vespi,
Hey, yo.
who swears he's not Scott Hall.
Nor Ray Romano.
or Razor Ramon. Either
yes.
one. Or Jay Leno, for that matter. For those who don't know, go check out Lazy Booking about an hour ago after the show.
Yes.
Anyway, so this week, as always, Hockey Happy Hour is brought to you by Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. And it is time to dive in to the defensive position in the NHL, because we covered all the forward positions. We got the centers, we got the right wingers, we got the left wingers, but let's talk about the D-men. Unfortunately, it's one of those positions people kind of forget about, but they are the unsung heroes, because many times a good offense can get you a lot of places, but if you have a shitty defense, well, how good can you be when you're always down 7-0?
I'm with you.
You got to have some good defensemen.
You need some D.
Yes, you do. And if you don't have it, then you ain't got shit. And don't worry, we will talk about the most important role in hockey the following week with goaltenders. But let's talk about the men in front of the men. And let's get started. So, as usual, Mikey Klankoff right on over here is going to be going down the top 20 current top defensemen in the NHL. I will be doing all time, and Mr. Frank Vespi will be doing all time as
I
well.
actually came prepared this time.
I like it.
Good. I did not. So, so with that being said, too, also we do have our Twitter poll question of who is the current best D-man in the game today. We even have a lovely image of Victor Hedman on the cover. He looks so thrilled, too, on the image. He's just looking up in there. It's like, God, why am I doing this, man? I just got to rethink my life.
Yeah.
Should I have been a hockey player playing down here where there's palm trees and, you know, there's hot women everywhere you look. And
rednecks.
rednecks and old
yeah.
retired people and old retired New York Rangers, you know,
And
like
crappy laws.
Yeah.
It's everything in Florida.
and conservative politics. Man, I don't know. Did I make the right choice in my life? Dude, look at your salary.
It could be
I
worse.
don't think you should have any room to complain.
No, not at all.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be playing for the Coyotes.
That is true. What the fuck's out there besides cactus? But anyway.
Sand.
Yay!
And really giant spiders. But anyway, so with that being said, let's dive into our top 20 defensemen. We'll kick things off with number 20 through 10, and then we will kick off the rest on the other side. So, Mr. Klankoff.
All right, before I dive in there, we got a couple comments coming in on the book. We got Tom
Wow.
Arnone saying, yo, boys.
What's up?
The Pove coming in. He says Carlson is the best defenseman in the league.
I can't argue. He is definitely the best.
Definitely make an argument for that one. Brian Daly also comes in. He goes, my boy, sorry I'm not there, a little under the weather. I'm assuming he meant to put kick ass tonight,
Oh, boy,
but he put kick ad tonight.
Well, you know what? We will kick a lot of ad, Brian.
Just for you, Brian.
Kick all the ad.
And we have Tommy Edwards also saying soon to be Provorov.
Ooh, I like that.
That's pushing it a
Hey,
little bit.
hey, listen, I like it. Have faith in the kid.
I got another
Just
one.
because you're a Penguins fan,
Listen,
come on.
I got one of your guys ahead of my boy, so it's
Oh,
all
all
right.
right then. So it's all clear. It's all
yeah,
clear. Okay.
I mean, let's
Good,
be real
good,
here.
Good. All right. So we got David Roska chiming in here on the YouTubes.
On the tube.
What's up, Roska? Saying, let's go Ducks, let's go Ducks. Kessler, call you out on Johansson. That's interesting on that one for the Ducks. I wish Brian was here to comment. But also, with that being said, too, Vespi, Coyotes will win a Stanley Cup. If that happens, by God, hockey's dead. It is official. If the Arizona or the fucking Phoenix Coyotes or whatever, like goddamn hell they are, if they walk away with a Stanley Cup, I think everybody who's a hockey fan, who's a true hockey fan, should just jump off a fucking bridge. Because I'm
agree.
like, you know what? No. I could put up with a lot of bullshit. I was willing to accept Vegas getting a cup for crying out loud, but I will never accept the Phoenix Coyotes as Stanley Cup champions. Fuck no.
Wouldn't that be
Absolutely
awful?
not. That would be awful. That would be
absolutely awful.
terrible. Anyway, all they had was cool jerseys back in the day, and they screwed that up by changing them. But anyway.
But they are bringing them back. Well, one of them back.
Well, at least they're doing something right.
Yay.
My favorite guilty pleasure of the ugly 90s jerseys, it has to be that Coyotes jersey. Next to the Wild Wing jersey, where Wild Wing jumps out of the ice.
Oh, yes, the Anaheim Ducks.
I'm trying to get my hands on that one.
That's a
I'm
tough one.
I'm not a Ducks fan, but I really want ugly jerseys.
Boy, I wish Brian was here. He could have commented big time on that one.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, Mr. Klenkoff, who do
Yes.
you got at number 20 for your top D-man?
Number 20, I'm going Rasmus Ristolainen for
Ristolainen.
Buffalo.
Okay.
Last season, had 6 goals, 35 assists, 41 on the season. He ranked 29th last year, which is why I have him at 20. You know, I think Buffalo is going to be a little bit better, which makes his stock definitely a little bit better as well. You know, he's just a good, solid, young defenseman that's only going to get better this year, and I think this year he steps his game up a little bit.
Yeah, I got you on that one. Makes sense. So, to Mr. Vespi, who do you got for number 20?
I mean, he's got a trophy named after him. Not my number 20, King Clancy.
Oh, okay. So we're going way back in the day on that one.
We are going all time. We're going back to 1919. Well, starting off from 1919. He started in 1921, but the league was still a baby at the time. But got to go with King Clancy. One of the
Throwing it back.
going way back.
TBT, by the way.
Yes.
to the back. Before the original 6 even existed.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
When there was a team called the Montreal Maroons and the original Ottawa Senators.
Ooh.
Yes.
Fun fact of the night. I'm
Yes.
sure we'll have a lot more coming.
Yeah,
Probably.
lots of old names are going to be popping up here and there. So
Mhm.
Definitely will be. So for my number 20, I'm going to go a little bit more common in modern day. Chris Pronger, former Flyer and a former Anaheim Duck who captained, he captained the Flyers, but he was definitely one of the major factors of the Ducks winning their Stanley Cup. Definitely gets, he's a little bit underrated sometimes as a D-man because everybody remembers him for putting down big hits, having a mouth that he would shoot off all the time, but Pronger was the kind of guy who could make you pay. He could score, and on
Yeah.
top of that, too, not only could he lay the body down, but he was a really solid defensive man.
absolutely.
And I look at it this way: when he was on the St. Louis Blues, he was the only good player, and he still got them to he got them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that should tell you everything you need to know about Chris
Nah,
Pronger.
He was always a great defenseman. Obviously, his physical presence was always known.
yes.
You know, a guy I never liked playing against, always.
yeah,
But, yeah, he was a hell of a player.
he was.
Goofy, though. He
Oh,
was very goofy.
Well, he was goofy looking. So
Yeah,
what did
that's-
you expect? You
that's-
know.
I have nothing bad to say about him. No, he was a hell of a player.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go with Chris Pronger at number 20. Clinky, what you
Yeah,
got?
I'm going with original first-round pick here, Aaron Ekblad
Aaron Ekblad,
for
okay.
Florida. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy, you know, ranked 31st last season in points. He had 16 goals, 22 helpers, 38 total on the year. He's another younger kid that, you know, is just kind of on a shittier team. Obviously, his stock would be a lot better being somewhere else, but, you know, I think he climbs up into that top 20, you know, in the league right now overall, I mean, he is, like I said, he's a great defenseman. And, that's why he deserves the 19th spot, in my opinion.
All right, then. My next one is Red Kelly, who was one of the major contributing factors to Stanley Cup winning franchises way back in the day. We're going back to the 50s at this time with Red Kelly, leading his team to several Stanley Cups, being a defensive captain on his squad. Mr. Vespi?
I am going to go with Brad Park for number 19.
Brad Park, okay.
Brad Park, formerly of the Rangers, the Boston Bruins, which everybody's probably going to expect a lot of Bruins are going to be on this list. Because I was doing a lot of research. A lot of people were wearing the black and gold on this list, so it's going to be very entertaining. Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah, 5-time All-Star, runner-up in the Norris Trophy for on 6 occasions, multi-time All-Star, first year of eligibility, elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and one of the listed on the 100 greatest hockey players back in '98, ranked at number 49, and possibly one of the greatest blue shirts to ever suit up.
All right, then.
Nice.
So we're going on that one. Clinky, what you got for 18?
Yeah, this guy could definitely be a lot higher, but again, he plays for Arizona. So,
So
Oliver
few
Ekman Larson.
points,
He's a guy that we talked about a couple of weeks ago when we were thinking free agency, and man, maybe he could have moved somewhere, but instead took a big pay raise to stay with Arizona. So I mean, maybe he sees potential. I don't know what he sees. Like I said,
maybe he sees dollar signs.
I mean, that's about it. That's what a lot of guys see for going out there. I mean, come on now. Like I said, he could be so much higher on this list. I think he could potentially be even a top 10 defenseman in the league. But it hurts him so much that he plays for Arizona.
It does.
That's why he's down a lot further.
Yeah, he's going to get a few points tacked off for that one.
Yeah, big time.
You
Big
could have
time.
gotten an A+, but you're going to get a B+
Yeah,
just for team association.
I mean, like I said, obviously this guy, 14 goals, 28 assists. He had 42 points last season, ranked 23rd in the defensive position. A lot better than, a couple of the other guys on this list that I have, but it's just where you play determines sometimes where you're ranked. So that's a big reason as to why I have him at 18th.
I got you on that one. All right, so I'm going to go on to number 18. This is where I have Brad Park.
Okay.
But definitely deserving of all of what you said, Mr. Vespi. He was a major player for the New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins. Definitely one of the best players to play the game and one of the best D-men to play the game.
Well, actually, your 19 is my 18, Red Kelly.
Red Kelly, all right then.
Flip-flopping.
Yes.
Nice.
I like it.
Flip-flopping
Like it.
more like a politician.
Oh.
Huh. Okay, then. So we're switching to what party now?
Yes.
Yes.
The
I like it.
the
I
yes
like it.
movement. Okay,
The,
so
the pizza party.
The taxes are too damn high, right?
yeah.
Pizza
go with
Party
that one.
USA.
I like it.
My
I like it.
my prank party at college.
And weed's going to be legal, right?
No, it was trying to get Rod Blagojevich elected into student government at my college, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Should have gone with the weed being legal. Probably would have worked. But
Well,
anyway,
considering
moving
that
on.
it would be in Kentucky, that it was in Kentucky at the time, but it might come back. Might tease a run for the governorship. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
So we got Roscoe chiming in again on the YouTube saying OEL will be a C this year. Oliver Ekman Larson, he's saying he'll be the captain of the Phoenix Coyotes or
Well, he
the
should
Arizona
be.
Coyotes.
Yeah.
He should be. I don't know if he will be. That's the big question. But still, it's not going to change
Somebody
that.
needs to wear it.
Yeah, somebody needs to bear the burden.
Might as well beat our best player.
It might as well be Oliver Ekman Larson's cross to
Yeah.
bear. You might as well just be the captain of the Coyotes. Who knows? Maybe you'll get the team to be less than average mediocrity at best.
Listen,
maybe.
they won't be the worst team in the league this year.
Well then, mission fucking accomplished.
Yeah,
You did the best you fucking could.
If I had to put money on it, I'd say it'll be second worst.
Hey, when it's Arizona, sometimes you got to set your goals and shoot for the moon,
Yeah.
and he shot for the moon, and he fucking achieved it. Congratulations. And then he also went on to say, Prager was on my team in 03, and he will beat Stevens' ass. I agree 100%.
That'd be a nice fight.
I would love to see him beat
Absolutely.
the shit out of Scott Stevens, that piece of shit. Anyway, on to you, Clinky. What you got
All right.
now for 17.
17. I'm going Duncan Keith. Very bad season overall from Chicago. I mean, there's really, nothing else to say. Points-wise, he ranked 53rd. He had 2 goals, 30 assists for a grand total of 32 points total. But the thing that killed him a lot was that he was a minus 29. So, I mean, he was absolutely no help. But obviously, again, another guy that could potentially be a top 10 defenseman in this league. But, he's lucky that he even made my top 20, and it's hard saying that considering how good of a player that he actually is. So, again, just coming off a very bad season, I think he'll pick it up. And, if Chicago turns around from last season, he's obviously going to be a better player. So, we'll see what happens with Chicago. Chicago's very weird last year, so I don't know. Duncan Keith at 17.
All right, then.
Enough said.
All right, then. I'll get you on that one. So, on to me, and I have at number 17, Larry Robinson, who played for the Montreal Canadiens back in the 1970s, who, of course, infamously in Philadelphia history was one of the major factors as to why the Flyers only have 2 Stanley Cups and not 3, as Robinson helped the Montreal Canadiens.
I'm not going to say anything.
I just want, I'm sorry. I just want to know what's going on now.
I'm very surprised that you have Robinson really low because I have Robinson a lot higher than where you have him.
Only reason
I could see your reasoning, but
yeah.
you're not going to like me on where I have Robinson.
Well, it'll be interesting where you got him. I'm not saying he wasn't a great player, but he was a major factor of why the Canadiens won the Cup. But on that team, I think his play got so much more elevated because that team was so stacked, top to bottom. Even if they didn't have Robinson, that team could have still swept the Philadelphia Flyers in that series because that's how good they were. You had Ken Dryden in goal. You had guys like Guy Lafleur scoring goals. It's like that team was built to win multiple cups. There was nothing you could do about it. There's a reason why Boston didn't win another cup after the Flyers stopped them in 1974 because of that team. So that's all I got to say about that. Nothing against Larry Robinson. No disrespect. He was a big player. But I think he, as good as he was, he definitely got heightened by that team.
All right. My number 17, possibly one of the greatest players to come out of the great land of IKEA, meatballs, and ABBA, Sweden, Börje Salming.
Oh, God.
Number 17 for me. Possibly one of the greatest players not to have a Stanley Cup, but an outstanding defenseman, by the way, for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay,
yeah, an amazing player.
All right, then.
He needed that cup. If he had the cup, he would be a little bit higher for me, but it just hasn't happened, so he is in the bottom 10 for me.
All right, then.
Interesting.
Yes.
So, next up for you, Mr. Klinkoff.
Yeah, next up I have Justin Falk.
All right, then.
For Carolina. Again, Carolina is a team that's going to take a step back, but he's really the only bright star on that team. I shouldn't say that because Sebastian Aho is a very good player. Jeff Skinner was just traded away, so it's Aho and Falk. Last season he ranked 56th in points overall. He had 8 goals, 23 helpers. Again, he's another guy that is an all-star every year. And, went minus 26 in the plus-minus department. Obviously not good for him. That's definitely going to go a little bit lower probably this season, but I think his production will definitely be a lot better than what it was last year. So overall, that's why I have him as one of the better defensemen in the league, ranking at 16.
All right, then. So next up for me, I have at number 16, Tim Horton, who was one of the best, yes, as we all know, Hortons, for those who live in Canada.
James Wilder, please tell us the wonder, even though you probably think it's overrated. Tell the American audience about Tim Hortons.
With that being said, though, Tim Horton, not only was that attributed to him, but he was one of the key factors of the Toronto Maple Leafs back in the day. The dude was built like a brick shithouse, and he would check the hell out of you and throw you straight into the boards and almost put you through them. And he was one of the major contributing factors to the Toronto Maple Leafs, who were the only team back in the 50s that could actually compete with the Montreal Canadiens. no disrespect to the Red Wings or the Bruins back in the day, or especially the Red Wings with Gordie Howe, but it always seemed like the Canadians were just a little bit better. And Gordie was the major factor of that Red Wings team. The Maple Leafs, though, pound for pound, were right there with them every single time. And every time those two met in the Stanley Cup Finals, it was a coin toss. You didn't know who was going to win the cup.
Yeah.
Either way, though, either team would be deserving. And oddly enough, a lot of times Toronto wound up getting the better of Montreal. Of course, that came back to haunt them later because the Toronto Maple Leafs have yet to see a Stanley Cup in fucking forever. So,
Which is fine.
With that being said,
They'll have some potential this year.
yes, definitely a little bit more potential than the Canadians will. That is for sure
Yeah.
on that one. So, but yes, Tim Horton going in number 16.
My 16, I am going with a current player right now, Duncan Keith. He has been listed in the NHL 100 Greatest Players, which I completely forgot he was in it. Especially his workhorse ethic during the Blackhawks runs into the Stanley Cup. He's got to get a lot of credit there. I mean, everybody talks about Patrick Kane or
Jonathan Toews.
or Sharp. You got to give a lot of credit to Duncan Keith on that one. So
Yeah, like I
he's
said, I mean,
16th.
yeah, he's a good player. Just had a very bad season.
No, yeah, it's you can't blame him for the whole team just
Yep.
deciding to take a shit this year. You
Yep.
know, it's not his fault.
Absolutely.
I know some comments are slowly
Yeah.
coming on Facebook.
Yeah,
so
I
let's
was just about to say
sure.
that too. Steve Krasowski says, "Hi guys, James Wilder, what's going on, boys? What
What's
up? What up?" Steve again asking, "Where's Brian?" Question mark.
He can't.
Under the weather.
Yeah, he's kind of feeling it this week.
Yeah,
So
We were supposed to have him
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
He'll be back next
Yes,
week.
hopefully,
though.
hopefully everything
Yeah.
will go good.
He'll be back next week.
I don't know. Should I let Matty take on this question to get him a little fired up?
Oh boy, here we go.
I mean, I got a little comment about him too.
Okay.
So
You want me to-
you can recite
All
the
right.
comment.
Yeah, we have Jim Smith, whoever the hell this guy is. Obviously, he's a pointless commenter here.
Yeah.
But he says, nobody, because it's not hockey season.
I see that he has a good lizard in his profile picture. It really shows his personality right
Yeah.
there. So, yeah.
It's just slimy, I guess.
Slimy, scaly lizard
Yeah.
person. What can you say about them lizard people?
So,
Thank you, troll. All right, so
Yeah.
let's move on, shall we?
exactly.
And Jim Kilchrist also says PK Subban as
Ooh,
well
okay.
All right then.
We'll get
for
to
his
him.
current NHL player. It's a
I
great
like
defenseman.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right, so what are we at? We're at number
15.
I'm going with my boy Tanger.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Chris Letang at number 15. Last season, what?
Homer.
Homer. You're Homer. All right, that's fine. That's fine.
I had to do
I'll
it.
I'll take-
Relax.
I'll take your boy off of my list.
Oh.
All
All right, relax, dude. I'm just playing around.
right. All right. So
Jeez,
Letang,
so sensitive.
nine goals, 42 assists last season. Had 51 points. Ranked 17th in defenseman with points. So, just he's a guy that if he's healthy.
If he's healthy.
If he's healthy, I mean, he's one of the
Oh,
best
God.
defensemen in the league, but that's one thing that he never is. So,
Call me crazy, though. I'm surprised, and I guess because the Penguins have had a struggling defense in the past, I'm surprised they never once thought, maybe we should consider trading him.
I figured one day that it would happen and thought maybe the season was the year that it was going to at this deadline, and it just never did.
Yeah. Only because of the injuries. It's
Yeah.
not because of the play. His play
No,
has
his play
never
is
been
fantastic.
bad. It's just he's got an injury bug. He's
Yeah.
never been able to get rid of it.
No.
When was the last time he played a full season? Christ, was it back when the Penguins still had that really weird fucking gold in their jersey instead of their regular mustard one?
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a very long time since his health has been scary ever since his stroke happened.
Yeah, I know. Which,
So-
hey, I'm very happy, though, that he survived that, though. That's a good
It's
thing.
crazy to think
Yeah.
of a 27-year-old's having a stroke, especially in the condition that he's in.
It's weird because of the fact that he just had this little hole in his
Yeah.
heart, and no one ever found it, and that's the reason
Yep.
why. It's like, Jesus, how the hell
Especially-
did no one
yeah.
ever spot that?
Being
Like,
around medical staffs basically your whole life,
Yeah.
and just I'm sure he's a guy that's tested for stuff,
all the time.
frequently.
Yeah. No doctor ever just took his pulse and said,
Yeah.
"That's a
That doesn't sound
little
right."
bit too
Yeah.
sharp for my liking."
Yeah, so I mean that was very scary part of his career and his life overall. But again, he's one of my favorite players on the team. He is lower only because he's just not consistent. Like his gameplay is, but like I said, his injuries concern me. Which another guy who could be higher, but because of those issues, he's lower on the list. I think actually NHL has him at 13th, so they were being a little bit nicer.
I think they were probably taking the body of work into
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, a guy that could be higher. Just where I have him right now is.
If he stays healthy, if he plays a full season, then the Penguins' defense drastically improves. That's
Without
if
a doubt.
he can play.
Without a doubt, he's the anchor of that defense.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
he's got to be there, and if he isn't, and everything's fucked up.
Let me put it this way. I wish I had Chris Letang on the Flyers. Why? Because we would actually have a leader on
An
the
actual
fucking,
veteran
Yeah, an
defenseman.
actual legit veteran defenseman
Yeah.
on my team. But anyway.
Exactly.
So, with that being said, on to me. At number 15, I have Duncan Keith here. Active players-wise, he's the only active player I have. But there's a reason for that. He is probably the best defenseman currently in the league. I know people will probably argue that, but when you...
I had him at 17th.
But here's the thing, though. At Duncan Keith, though, being in the spot he is, he gets overshadowed, like Frank says. Patrick Kane, Taves, and Patrick Sharp, it's easy to get overshadowed by that. And also even the goaltending situation with the fact that Corey Crawford has terrible seasons and then turns it on during the postseason for whatever fucking reason. Even that overshadows Duncan Keith a lot of times of what he can do and being the anchor of that defense because he has been for so long. Between him, Brent Seabrook, and just got Jarmerson, and the list goes on and on of defensemen that they've had on that team that have just been phenomenal for basically the dynasty that was the Chicago Blackhawks.
Cups,
I mean, I don't know if the window's completely closed for them. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll find out probably after this year whether or not their window is either fully closed or if that little sliver of light is still there for the Chicago Blackhawks.
I mean, the West is definitely a lot stronger this year, which has made it tough on them. But I don't know. That last season was just a very weird season. There was a lot of different teams coming out,
There was.
So it was just...
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I know the Blues struggled too, and that's another thing. Was like, are the Blues and the Blackhawks on their way down again, or was that just an off year for the Blackhawks? Not as completely sold on the Blues as I am the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the Blackhawks. Maybe if they put a few things together and Patrick Kane scores up a storm and and Taves does a phenomenal job as he usually does, and that defense anchored by Duncan Keith plays the way that Stanley Cup team will played. It's like that team still has very much a shot of being dangerous.
Exactly,
in the West.
having one of the best coaches in the league too. So
Yeah.
I mean that helps as well. I mean they really didn't lose many pieces from what they were the year before, which is why I was surprised and why they weren't really buyers towards the trade deadline.
I think the reason why is because I guess by that point they realized
they were a little deflated and had a lot to catch up in with the West.
They did. And they've had a bit of a couple of rough years because they had a great year during the regular season, and then they just absolutely laid a big old egg, and they got swept by the Nashville Predators, who took that and went on to the Stanley Cup Finals based off of that alone. I just think, I don't think the window's completely closed on this Blackhawks team yet. If they go this year without making the playoffs, then yes, the window is completely closed.
Dynasty shut.
The dynasty's over. 3 cups ain't bad though for a dynasty.
Solid. Yeah,
and I would say that that would be the end of it, and that would be what would be. If they do make it to the playoffs, though, don't be surprised if they shock a team in the first round and move on.
Yeah.
I don't think they get any further than that, but if they could take a team and say the Nashville Predators and the Blackhawks rematch, we all know the Predators are going to win again, and then the Blackhawks get revenge on them in 7 games and go on to the next round.
Imagine winning 3 cups in 10 years. Wait. I know about that.
Oh.
You had to fucking do it at some point, didn't you? God, this motherfucker over here. This is why equal opportunity employment, folks. It does actually work here. Anyway, moving on. Vespi, what you got at 15?
I am going to go with Le Sénateur Serge Savard.
Serge
What?
Savard.
Oui. Serge Savard.
I'm guessing he's French.
Oui.
Canadian.
No.
French Canadian, Montreal Canadian, pioneered the Savardian spinorama, a key part of the 70s Canadians Stanley Cup teams. Still, Conn Smythe Award winner in '69, four-time All-Star game, very very valuable defenseman of his time, especially going into an era going into the mid '80s, playing from like the late '60s going into the mid '80s, especially when playing styles came to change. Savard being an original six guy, being one of the last players from that era to go into the '80s. It's truly a remarkable career for Savard.
Say the first name again.
Serge Savard.
Thank you. I love the French names. French names are cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to speak it again, but it'll be fun.
So next up, we have number 14.
14.
Going another young pup here. Morgan Riley. He's definitely picked up his game a lot and on a team that is potentially going to make a Stanley Cup run this year with Toronto. There's nothing else really to say other than he's got great skills. 6 goals, 46 helpers, 54 points total last year, ranked 15th last year. Just overall a great player. He's on the power play. He produces a lot for him. Overall, he's a solid anchor for that team, and one of the younger guys in that young core that just makes Toronto very good. So we'll see how he works this year with Johnny T going to the team as well. So
all right.
Overall, solid player. I like him a lot.
Before I jump into mine, I got a comment in from David Roska saying Cam Fowler and Hampus Lindholm, in my mind, the best defense. Obviously, bit of a homer move on that one for the Anaheim Ducks. Just a little bit on that one. But, hey, you know what? That's what we love about Roska. He's all about them Ducks, and I don't blame him. All right, so on to my number 14, and that is Gary Suter, who, of course, played a long, lengthy career and had a phenomenal run during his time period. He had eventually played for the Washington Capitals, but he had many different franchises that he did play for. But always a phenomenal stat guy, and one of the key components of defensive units wherever he went. Mr. Vespi?
My number 14. Where's my donuts? I got Tim Horton at 14.
Okay, then.
Beautiful.
Nice.
I really want some Tim Hortons now.
I'm with you. That sounds pretty good.
James Wilder, if you're listening all the way up in Winnipeg, please visit us in Mount Ephraim. Bring over some Tim Hortons, please, and thank you. We'll pay you in many Canadian dollars as possible.
I'm okay with that. I have
All right.
a few in my piggy bank at home.
There we go.
All right. So on to our number 13. Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. I'm going out to Calgary. Going Mark Giordano. It's not DiGiorno. It's Jesus Christ. I messed myself up. Giordano. My man. Great defenseman for Calgary overall. 13 goals, 25 helpers last year, 38 points total. He ranked 32nd in point department last year. He's one of the better defensemen in the league overall. I think he's going to make Calgary, even better this year. They got a lot more pieces this year as well. So, reason why I got him up so high.
All right, then. So, moving on for me. By the way, nice try on channeling the Frank Vespi there. Very close. Very close on it.
Yeah, I'm not good with that stuff.
Next up for me, I have Serge Savard at number 13. Gary Suter was a major piece to the Calgary Flames winning a Stanley Cup. Serge Savard was a major piece of the Canadiens winning several Stanley Cups. The Canadiens, of course, won, I believe it was 4 straight Stanley Cups during the 1970s, and mostly on the back of the Boston Bruins to do it. But Serge Savard was a key contributing factor with his phenomenal defensive play. Him and Larry Robinson were just a dynamic force. That was very, very difficult to deal with during the 1970s. So, Serge Savard in there. Mr. Vespi, your lucky number 13.
My lucky number 13, I am going to go with somewhere in the more hated of our rivals. I am talking about the blue shirts. Brian Leetch at number 13.
All right, then. Interesting. I have him a little higher.
You have Leetch higher?
I do have Leetch higher on that one.
Okay.
But interesting choice. I like it. Mr. Vespi, what you got for number 12?
See, now we got him all messed up. You just call me Vespi.
Oh, yeah. Clink off. What you got?
Great job today, Matt.
Hey, listen, I
That
just
sounds too good.
yeah,
man,
Noah's
I
in
haven't
the
seen him
studio.
in forever.
Yeah, I haven't seen Noah either in a while. Although I'm
Oh,
waiting.
shit.
I want to see another outburst. I do miss his outbursts.
Well,
Yeah.
you can catch his outbursts every Wednesday on the Fix.
Unfortunately, I work a lot, so I
Oh.
usually miss it, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because,
People are in love with Noah's rants. It's
they
hilarious.
are, man. When he talks about the Philadelphia Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles, the Phillies. Well, we don't really talk about the Flyers. I don't really read about the Sixers either. But, yeah.
It's so spot on. It's crazy.
This is how we judge people at A2D Radio who
Yeah.
could do the best Noah Eaton impression.
Yeah.
So if you ever are a guest in the studio, if you could do your best Noah Eaton impression, we'll see
You're hired.
at
You're
where.
hired.
Yeah, that's where we
That's
rank
all it
you.
takes.
We
That's
rank you based
absolutely
on
all
that.
it takes.
Absolutely.
Clinky, what you got?
All right, so I'll go my number 12, Ryan McDonough. A guy also had injury bug last year. He only played 63 games, but in those games he had 29 points, 4 goals, 25 assists, plus 8 on the season. He was ranked 61st in points, which is, pretty crazy to think about when you think of a defenseman in his stature there. But he's just one of those guys who's an absolute anchor. And for Tampa Bay, he's going to be even better this year. So if he could be another guy, again, if he's fully healthy and plays a full season, he's another guy that could be a top 10 defenseman. And really, he is. It's just injuries.
It's injuries.
It's
No,
injuries.
it's understandable. Like, I understand why you put him there because, again, injuries are injuries,
Yeah.
and they do hold back your team. And it held back the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think, at the end of the day. Tampa would have had a much better chance going in to the Eastern Conference. Yeah, the Eastern Conference Finals. I had to double check there. The Eastern Conference Finals this year against Washington, if they had a fully dominant, ready-to-go defensive unit. And I think Hedman's injury did not help nothing by any stretch of the imagination. Like, it's that team in general, for whatever reason, between Stamkos' injuries, Hedman's injury, that team can't stay healthy.
No,
And
they never can. That's why they haven't won anything in a while.
They have, literally, because the last time they went to the Cup, to the finals, they were all healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, Stamkos came back from an injury, but he was healthy.
And that's a big
you know.
reason why the Penguins beat them in that series 3 years ago, was because Stamkos didn't play the whole series. Think about, I'm going to be completely honest. If Stamkos played all 7 of those games, they would have beaten us. We already looked like we were out of it, going into Game 6. I think we were down 3-2 at that point. So, I mean, it's just, if he was there, he ended up coming in Game 7 and making an impact. So, again, there's always a curse with them in the Eastern Conference Finals because they are always one of the top 3 teams going in every single year.
And
but they
year.
just can't finish. Usually they're a first-round knockout, too, which is like, what?
I know.
What? If they're not a first-round knockout, then they lose in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So.
Which, that did happen this year, didn't it?
Did it happen? I'm pretty sure because I know it happened
Did it
against
go to
us.
7 or did it go to
6?
I think it went to 6
7.
with Washington.
Yeah.
But still, though, it's the same thing. They
But
get to the Eastern
it's just the
Conference
fact
Finals,
that, I mean, they're either a first-round bust or they make it all the way and then they just shit the bed.
It's the problem with Tampa. Their injuries keep haunting them. It
Yep.
keeps bothering them. It keeps haunting. At some point, Tampa has got to get their people healthy, and it's time to put up or shut up. This team has to be on all cylinders, because if you're not on all cylinders, you are never going to get a second Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay.
Nada.
You have all the ability in the fucking world to do it. You have to stay healthy, or you're not going to make it. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
It's shocking that even with the goaltending issues that you guys had ran into, that you guys managed to pull it off.
What a
you know?
carousel.
But
Jesus
with
Christ.
that being said, we move on to our number 12 for me. And my number 12 is Mark Howe,
How?
who played for the Philadelphia Flyers and also played for the Detroit Red Wings for his team towards the end there for his dad. And he also played on the Whalers with his dad as well. And Mark Howe was a phenomenal player in his day. Obviously has his jersey and number retired by the Philadelphia Flyers for a reason. Was a major captain for the Flyers at one point. Most of his career was with Philly, obviously, but taking that into account, his stats are just phenomenal on top of it, too. Unfortunately, he did get the cup, unfortunately, but he was in 2 cup finals with the Flyers. Unfortunately, they ran into the dynasty known as the Edmonton Oilers. And Frank knows every single note of this fucking song, doesn't he?
Probably.
The Brass Bonanza.
I know you do. I know you know it. I know.
The Hartford Whalers.
I
song.
know. I know. I know.
There needs to be like a cute. We need to like have it on like on our playlist. The Brass Bonanza. Whenever somebody brings up the Whalers, it has to be like playing in the background. That'd be awesome.
But you know what? If they brought the Whalers back, they probably dubstep the shit out of that thing. Probably.
DJ Khaled.
Wait, what?
Oh god. Next thing you know, we got freaking next thing you know, we got Drake freaking rapping over it because Drake's from fucking Canada and likes hockey. Oh god. Anyway.
I was in Degrassi. The Whalers kick your assy.
Oh god. All right, Frank, what's your number? What's your number 12?
Scott Niedermayer.
Okay.
Scott.
It's just like, let the calm breathe in. Scott Niedermayer.
Scott Niedermayer.
Back to business.
There we go.
All right, then. So we got Scotty Niedermayer right up there at number 12 on that one. Of course, known more for his time playing with the, well, you know that team. Anyway.
That team and Brian's team.
And
Ducks.
Brian's team, the
Quack,
Ducks.
quack.
Yes, he won a cup with the Ducks back at the end of his career there. We know what we should do. We need to grab, you know the prop that they had in the Mighty Ducks?
Which one?
That made
I was gonna say.
that made the duck sound in D2.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get Brian one of those, or we need to have one of those so that every time he starts talking, we just start honking on that thing, and then just to piss him off, just to see what his reaction would be. God damn it, why is Brian not here in the studio right now?
Jesus
Anyway.
Christ.
The more I think about those movies, the Mighty Ducks movies, like every time I watch them again, it's the worse it gets for me. I don't know why. It's one of those movies that did not age well for me.
Really?
All 3 of them did not age well for me.
Is it because of the 90s references?
It's not because of the 90s references. It's just like, how can they get away with the flying V? That's the one thing that's like bugging me. It's like,
It works.
It works, but like you're called offsides every single time you have the puck.
More like you'd be checked every time
you'd
you
be
got to the
checked.
blue line, but anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, though.
I want a remake, though. I want a remake of the Mighty Ducks. It needs to happen.
No,
A
no.
grittier remake of the Mighty Ducks.
No, it's perfect the way it is. Let the nostalgia be the nostalgia. Don't freaking butt rape it with a remake. No, don't.
And then you have the soundtrack with the dubstep Brass Bonanza featuring DJ Khaled. There you go.
Featuring fucking Drake. Yeah. Well, anyway. God damn it.
Quack, quack.
By the way, did anyone else, like, during one of the All-Star games, too, all of a sudden Drake showed up and just started rapping. I'm like, why the fuck is Drake here? Like, seriously, this feels so goddamn out of place. It's not funny.
Because he's from Toronto.
Well, that's the funny part. I didn't even know he was from Toronto.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they said, oh, yeah, he's from Canada. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So what hood is there in Canada? Where the fuck are you?
Degrassi Street.
Degrassi, yeah.
Yep.
That's where he started.
Yeah.
Honestly, he would
Start
never
from
be.
the bottom.
Yeah, now he's here.
Yeah. Start from the
It's
bottom.
in his
Canada
songs.
doesn't have gangs. They don't even have hoods. They don't even have fucking crime. Like, what the hell?
What's that got to do with
Seriously.
anything?
Yeah.
That's
Degrassi
pretty
had
much how
crime.
everything has to do with rap. Have you ever noticed that? Between Tupac, Biggie, I mean, Christ, that's all they ever
But-
talked
but-
about.
He started spitting in a wheelchair now.
Yeah, he's spinning in a wheelchair. In Degrassi. They had prop.
How did you not see that?
Because I actually didn't care.
What?
I never even watched Degrassi.
Aubrey Graham, come on.
I never even watched Degrassi as
Why
a kid.
did you watch that show? Like, seriously.
Who didn't watch that show?
I didn't because
I
I had a
didn't either.
brain. Like, seriously.
I think everybody.
I didn't have
No.
I didn't have the
No,
channel that Degrassi was on
that's
growing
one of the-
up.
that is one
so
of
I
the-
never got to see like a lot of the earlier seasons. I never caught on to it.
That's one of the worst
That's
things
my
that
def-
came out of
that's my
this
defense.
millennial era.
Same-
What the
Same thing
fuck?
with a good
Like,
chunk of Disney
seriously.
Channel stuff. I never had Disney Channel growing up. It was all scrambled for me. That along with the Playboy Channel for some reason. I got Disney Channel and Playboy all scrambled on my TV growing up. And I'm like, "Ooh, what's on this channel?" Oh, it has a little bunny on it. Okay. Oh, that's Playboy. Okay. Let's see what's on the other channel. Oh, hi Mickey. Wait, those are tits. Never mind. Oh,
You know
still
what
on
be-
Playboy.
You know
Whoops.
what's really funny though? If you had the scramble channel, it doesn't scramble the audio, so you can actually hear what's going on. You just don't know what the hell is going on. All of a sudden, you hear somebody moaning. You're like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Up,
I've
it
never
must
had
be the
that
new
issue.
Degrassi. All right.
I got my dad chiming in and saying, "Hey guys."
Hello.
Talking about Drake, and we get
Yeah.
a visit.
Yeah, we got a visit from Papa Quick.
We had that before, but we got into deep conversation.
Yeah.
I didn't want to break it
I
up.
don't know if
There
it
we
was as
go.
much of a deep conversation
Yeah.
as it was a shouting
Yeah.
shouting comment. But anyway. Oh, fuck you, Degrassi. All right, moving on. All right.
Trying to figure out where I'm at.
11.
11.
11,
Okay.
11.
Roman Yossi.
Yossi. Okay,
Yossi.
then.
You'll see.
Yeah, I mean he's their second best defenseman on Nashville. Overall, I mean they have three, I would say, probably great defensemen on that team. So, yeah, Yossi's one of the best though. He's 14 goals, 39 assists last year. Ranked 14th overall in points. I think he'll do a little bit better. Nashville's a team again you got to watch out for, which obviously rises his stock a lot more. But, you know, he's just one of those guys. He's a guy that doesn't really get talked about a lot of, but people don't really understand how well of a defenseman he actually is. So,
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. He does get a bit overshadowed
Mhm.
on that team, but he contributes so much to that defensive unit. Without them, without Roman Yossi, I don't think they have a really good defense for the most part.
no, other than PK and Ryan Ellis.
Yeah,
it's-
but that's the thing, though. Like, PK, I feel like at times he's good, and then other times he makes some stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
And he gets his team in trouble. Ellis is fine.
He's very undisciplined.
Yes,
that's
and
his problem. He
yeah.
gets a little too cocky, but you can't hate his game.
I don't
That's
hate
the
his
thing.
game.
I believe me, going up against him in the Stanley Cup, it was horrible having to watch him because he gets very cocky, and as a watcher, as a viewer, you get very frustrated watching that. But
I know.
that's what makes him a great player. It's because he gets in people's heads.
He does,
You
but
know?
that's the thing, too. Like, I like that, but I also hate it because you have to walk a fine line today
Yeah.
in the NHL. You can't be the guy who just – it's okay to chirp. I don't mind the chirping.
Oh no, you
What
gotta love that.
Yeah, what I don't
know?
like is if you start to lay into hits too much, if you start to try and take a little shot with your
Yep.
stick, you got to be like, you got to be real tamed with that nowadays because even a small little chop to the ankle is enough to get you sent to
Oh
the
yeah.
box.
Oh yeah. They look for everything right now.
Yeah, so that's the only negative side on PK Subban. With Yossi, I feel like he kind of is more of the he's
more that defenseman.
yes,
Like
he's-
actual defenseman,
yes.
but he can score, which is great.
He can. He does have an
So.
offensive upside. And Ellis is fine. I don't think he's as good as Yossi, though.
No,
That's
but
the thing.
he's even more of a defensive defenseman
Yes.
now. That's the thing. Like Yossi could do both,
Yes,
where he could sit back, but he could also score.
true. If I had my
And it's a-
choice,
same thing like PK too.
If I had my choice though between the two, either PK or Yossi with my team right now, I would go Yossi, and that's not because of how solid PK is, because he is.
Oh, he's great.
I just don't like the fact that this is the kind of guy who can get us into penalty trouble.
Yeah.
Like, we run into the same debate with Wayne Simmons every year. It's like, why the fuck do you have to take bad penalties? That's the last thing you want as a defenseman to start doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot with a lot of guys. And, you know, even on Pittsburgh, it's a guy like Malkin. Malkin and Mata, it's the two M's. They always find a time to take a very bad penalty.
I think
always.
Didn't Mata take a bad penalty in our series like Simmons did?
Well, yeah, it was literally right after Simmons took the penalty.
That penalty, yeah.
Mata comes right back and trips somebody else. I'm like, come on.
And it basically cost you guys because you guys were going to get right back into it because you actually had a very good power play going, and he fucked you guys out of it.
It's like, dude, like literally, it's always them two though. But it's like you can't hate them because they're such good players too.
No,
you know, Mata's not. He's going to get you 15 points a year, but
he is.
But he's there strictly for defense, you know. And then obviously Malkin, you don't need to talk about him because we already know what he's capable of. You know, he makes it up. But it's just like they're always the two guys on the Penguins that if you're like, all right, we can't take a penalty, you know that one of those numbers are getting called.
God, I know. It's like Simmons. It really is like Simmons.
Like, God damn it!
I'm just like, all right, we got to hold strong here. We got the man advantage. Next thing you know, penalty on Simmons. Like, motherfucker, you, God damn it. Like, it's like, fucking Simmons, why the fuck didn't we trade you? Like, and I hate saying that because I like Simmons' play. It's just like, Christ, man, you make me want to trade you because of this. Like, stop, please. Yeah. Give me one period where we don't get thrown in the fucking box. Like, seriously. All right. So with that, on to my number 11. My number 11 goes way back in the day to Eddie Shore for the Boston Bruins. Another guy who wears the black and gold.
Yes, I actually have Shore a lot
Why don't we just
higher.
have a show dedicated to Boston?
Honest to God, like, because their defensive core. If they ever did an all-team defense on any of the NHL games, you would never fucking score on that team. But anyway, with that being said, though,
would Chara make it?
Probably
as a third string.
Yeah, probably as a
line?
third string, but that's it might be even scratch because they've had a lot of really good defensemen.
I'm thinking
Boston's
defense.
history.
I'm like, wait, that's only 6 players.
That's
maybe it wouldn't fit in.
I don't know. It's hard because they had some real good defensemen in Boston's history, but Eddie Shore is one of them. And the only reason why I have him so low, Frank, is because it was a different game back then. But at the same time, too, though, he was revolutionary, though, in his play. He was extremely fast. And on top of that, too, was one of the major foundations of the Boston Bruins winning Stanley Cups in the 1940s, actually. Eddie Shore, of course, went on to become a front office man, and he was a major component to the Bruins going down the line in the front office. I don't have him as high, though, only because the guys ahead of him, they have so much more stats tacked onto them. On top of that, too, a few of them had so much more contributing factors to their team winning a Stanley Cup, whether it be coming from behind or being a leader in the locker room. That's the reason why I'm going with that.
Okay.
Vespi?
My number 11, Chris Chelios.
Chris Chelios, okay.
Nice.
There's a great highlight of him getting his ass beat by Ron Hextall, by the way.
Every single Ron Hextall video would have him going after Chelios.
Pretty much during that whole series between Philly and Montreal in the Wales Conference Final. Because, what was it? Chelios did a questionable, and back then nothing was questionable.
No.
But it was a questionable by today's standards hit. And Hextall took offense to it and jumped him in the pre-skate. Literally jumped him. He literally jumped on top of him with his pads and just came down with a straight right to his face. I was like, oh, Hextall. 1 in a million. Gotta love him. Like, seriously. Have to love Hextall.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got to love that.
You do,
Definitely.
man. I just wish, you know what? I wish that there were more goalies like him in history who just go out of there now just like, you know what? I'm going to fucking kick your ass. Like, could you imagine if you just saw Tom Barrasso back in the day? Just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Just take his helmet
I can't
off.
take this anymore.
He just fucking jumps all off Kolzig on the other side of the Capitals and just starts beating the shit out of him. Oh, my God.
That'd be a pretty
fucking
fun battle.
hilarious. Oh, that would be interesting. That'd be real interesting.
Barrasso, man. What a goaltender.
Yeah. All right.
He was phenomenal.
That is my number 11. So with our 11s in, How much time are we looking at there, Mr.
We
Vespi?
actually got less than 5 minutes before we go to the break.
All right, then. So, with that, why don't we take a quick break? Let's take
All
a look
right.
around the.
Let's do that then.
Yeah, let's take a quick break. And
break.
when we
Get ready.
come back, we will dive in to our 10 through 1. So we're getting into our top 10 on the other side. And we'll go in through any news and notes going around in the NHL. And then after that, we will preview for next week as we will be, looking at the other week.
Oh, my.
Yeah, the excuse me position. Very important position. It's
Got to
those-
watch out for those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
They're the ones that just go right by you and don't even say it.
Yeah.
You know?
they're the silent.
Road.
We like to call those the silent but deadly
Oh.
type. Yes. So with that being said, all that on the other side. But first, we'll talk to you about Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com. This is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com. If you joined us on Facebook, thank you. There'll be a link in the description below in the comments. You can click on that and join us for the rest on YouTube. As for you on YouTube, we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW Atlantic City Studios here in Mountie from New Jersey. I am Matt Sassuti. That is Mikey, the penguin-loving Clank.
What up?
Behind the board is Mr. Frank Vespi.
DJ Khaled.
Still wanting to do that dubstep remix of Hartford Whalers theme song. And we are brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountants located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. You can give them a call, 215-369-3300. Tax season, man, I'll tell you, it's a fucking bitch. And you don't want to be stuck having to pay a nasty little bill to the IRS because you got audited. Because either you could do that or you can get in trouble and go to prison. I think it's pretty safe to say you want to be prepared for tax season. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Of all the choices to make, you want to make that
Tax
one.
evasion.
Go big or go home.
Oh, okay, I got you. Oh, it's all my money, bitch. You can't have none. It's all mine. Until they take you away in handcuffs.
Yeah.
So please, don't make the same mistakes Mikey's about to make. Do yourself a favor. Call Gibson Mayer, LLC. Get it all straightened out so that way you'll
They'll
be
hook you
ready, be prepared for tax season. So call Gibson Mayer. All right. So with that being said, we now go on to our next member of our top 10
we are in
defensemen.
now, yeah.
We went through 20 through 11. Now we're at 10 through 1. So let's jump into it. Mikey, what you got at number 10?
Going Mr. Jones. Seth Jones of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's going to beat our main defenseman now this year, considering that Jack Johnson is now gone and with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So he's going to have a lot bigger role. I mean, he's already a great defenseman as it is. He had 16 goals, 41 assists, grand total 57 points. He actually ranked number 10 in points last season as defenseman. I think he might stalemate because there's so many other guys ahead of him that, you know, potentially are better. But overall, he's one of the best young defensemen in the league right now, and he's only going to get better. So, Seth Jones, number 10.
All right, then. I do say this. That trade, I will still go back in that and say that was a dumb trade for Nashville. Like, I get that now things aren't as bad for Nashville. I mean, they have a Western Conference championship to their name, and what the hell has Columbus done? But the thing is, though, is that look at the team structure that Columbus has right now.
It's scary.
That team is built to last, whereas Nashville, I feel like in like the next 5 years, Nashville might have to start rebuilding, you know, or at least retooling, you know, because it's like, yeah, you got some young guys, but you have a lot of vets. what is going to be your answer for that in the near future?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, Columbus already has their answer, and they've got the future ready to go right now on that team. Seth Jones is a major part of that.
Yeah, I know a lot about that right now. Scared about what it's going to be like in the next 5 years. So
it's going to be weird. I mean, in the next 5 years, who knows? I mean, it might be the Devils and the Flyers and the Blue Jackets all fighting for the division spots, and the Penguins and the Capitals are desperately fighting to get to a wild card. It might be totally flip-flopped
they
by
might
then.
be desperate to find the next Crosby or Ovechkin.
Oh, God. That would be crazy, too. Like, man, if the mighty have fallen. Both
Wow.
Pittsburgh and Washington, who dominated for so long, they are no longer dominant.
They'll say in 10 years, there's a new Connor McDavid-like player coming out in the draft this year. Wow, look at the Penguins are the worst team in the league.
Yeah, and then we're going to be like, then everybody's going to be like, for the love of fucking God. Like, seriously, can this team get possibly more fucking lucky on the face of the planet?
Yes.
Every time a once-in-a-lifetime generational player happens to come around, you guys have to fucking suck.
And we got two of them.
Yeah.
We got two of them.
I know. How the fuck did that happen twice to the same goddamn team?
Oh,
Seriously.
man.
First Lemieux,
Lockout.
then Crosby. Yeah.
Lockout.
Thank you, lockout, motherfuckers. Anyway, thank you so much for that.
Good times.
Yeah, for one guy here in this room.
Mm-hmm.
Good times, yeah. Anyway, so with that being said, yes, but the Columbus Blue Jackets are definitely built to last. They're going to be quite a presence in the near future.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they play their cards right and they have a really good season. They may finally win their first series in a playoff. They may win their first playoff series. Maybe even taking that and going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not saying they would get to the Stanley Cup Finals, but they have a good shot of going to the Eastern Conference Finals and being a runner-up. I could see that happening.
Absolutely.
All right, so with that, we do have a comment in from Mr. David Roska, who was rebutted by Mr. Frank Vespi.
My beautiful rendition of the Brass Bonanza.
And no emojis this time.
I know.
I'm shocked. Well, hold on. YouTube doesn't allow it, does it?
Well, they do allow it, but it's a pain to get them on there from the computer.
Okay, gotcha. So with that being said, David Roska went on to say, Vespi, I want the Whalers be back in 2004-2005 NHL season. And their response was, I'm all in favor of having them back, them and the Nordiques. Well, unfortunately, I don't think either's going to happen.
In the meantime.
Meantime, because actually it's already been noted that Gary Bettman has come out and said there will not be a hockey team in Quebec anytime soon, or at least in Quebec City.
He sucks.
I say,
Get him out.
I don't know. I
All
mean,
right.
that poor
what did Gary Bettman do to blackmail the Hockey Hall of Fame voters to get him in? Like, really?
Oh, he probably had some incriminating evidence.
Yeah, probably like naked pictures of the voters or something.
Right.
Probably. I mean, if that's how Marvin Lewis.
Remember this?
You remember this? What were you doing in this photo?
It's like,
Why were you wearing my mom's lingerie?
I could see it now. Gary Bettman just brings them in for a shakedown. It's just got the spotlight in on them, and he's just like, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony's coming up real soon, and I still ain't in. I find that very offensive. And you see, it'd be a real shame if these photos got leaked onto the internet. Social media is a beautiful thing nowadays, man.
I don't think there was back then.
Well, when he got in.
Yeah.
Because he just recently got in.
Wait, who?
Gary Bettman.
Oh,
Yeah.
Years ago.
No, it's not years ago.
This year he's coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. In November.
Yeah.
He'll be
Oh,
inducted.
the Hall of Fame.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't say him being the commissioner.
I thought you were talking commissioner.
No. That's a totally different story.
Oh, yeah, there's no There's no reason for him to be in either.
Right.
No. But still though, I think it ends off with like if I don't get in, these photos hit photos hit,
Absolutely.
yeah, these photos hit your timeline.
But I like where Frank was going with Marvin Lewis too.
Yeah.
Again, what the fuck has he done for Cincinnati?
Nothing.
Because he's done nothing.
The last time
they never won a playoff.
They haven't won a playoff game since probably before everybody
90s.
in this room was even born.
Yeah, I think it was 91.
91 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. And, like, he was hired as the head coach of the Bengals. Shaq and Kobe were teammates. That's how long ago it was.
So,
Mind you, that they basically won a game against the Steelers 2 seasons ago, but Vontez Burfict killed Antonio Brown, and then you had Pac-Man Jones going and fighting a team, so there was 2 15-yard penalties on the play, which put us in field goal position, and we won the game. So
They don't call them the Bungles for a reason.
Oh,
I
my
had
God.
to convert one of my Bengals friends to an Eagles fan because of the run that the Eagles had.
Well, that's not
My
hard.
friend told me, he's like, "Yo, I'm converting to the Eagles. Like, I can't stand Marvin Lewis anymore."
I don't know how it happened. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
I don't even know.
But
it's
we still got 9 through 1 to get through.
10
so
through
let-
1, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
How
for you
did,
guys
how
too,
did
yeah.
Paul Holmgren become GM of the Flyers?
True.
yeah.
History is history, and a lot will suffer for it, like the atom bomb. But anyway, so with that being said, on to my number 10. And my number 10 on the list is Chris Chelios.
All right.
So definitely deserving to be in anybody's top 10 or top 20 or whatever the fuck top list you want to put him in. A unbelievably phenomenal defensive player, played for the Montreal Canadiens, was a major part in them winning a Stanley Cup in 1993. And, of course, he went on to win another Stanley Cup, that time with the Detroit Red Wings back in 2002, right before he retired. Vespi?
My number 10, Al McInnes.
Ah, good old Al McInnes.
Yep. Good old Al.
Big Al.
Big Al.
Al, yeah.
Hit some dingers, even with the puck.
Yes. All right, so my number 9.
Wow, what a great segue.
Yeah. My number 9, Alex Pietrangelo of the St. Louis Blues. Another guy that's just, under the radar. I mean, St. Louis isn't really talked about at all. But he's a reason why the team is solid. I mean, he's really the only key defensive player there now, considering Shattenkirk left years ago now already. So it's just, he's really one of the best defensemen in the league last year at 15 goals, 39 assists, ranked 13th in that position. Overall, I think St. Louis will be a better team this year, which obviously will make him a better player. So that's why he's deserving of the number 9 spot.
All right.
I think so. I think you put him in the right spot.
Yeah. He's up there. I remember when he was first drafted, and he was like one of the top players, prospects anyway.
Yeah, he was a top prospect, and of course, as always, you don't know if the prospect's going to live up to the hype.
Yeah, and he
lived
definitely
up to
has.
the
Yeah, he's
hype,
such a great
so,
player.
phew, it's crazy. But moving on to number 9 over here in the all times.
Number 9.
My number 9
Number 9. Number 9.
is Vyacheslav Fetisov.
Ooh.
Say it again.
Vyacheslav Fetisov.
Thank you.
One of the major contributing players to setting up the New Jersey Devils, unfortunately. Although he played on the really shitty green and red version of the team.
The Christmas sweaters.
Yes, that did not go anywhere. He came over from the Soviet Union, and of course he had a great reputation leaving there, which is why the Devils wanted him in the first place. It actually took him forever for him to get onto the team because, like the Flames who went and took Igor Larionov, they were not allowed to originally leave the Soviet Union until finally they were decommissioned, if you will, or discharged from the Red Army, and then they were allowed to play in
I don't
the
wanna hear
NHL. So that's the only reason why Fetisov took forever. However, though, he did leave the New Jersey Devils and wound up on the Detroit Red Wings with his old Russian buds, and they went on to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. So unfortunately, Fetisov is one of the several reasons why the Philadelphia Flyers got swept in 1997. But anyway,
Psych.
and the Washington Capitals in 1998. But moving on. Had to make myself feel better right now. The Capitals got swept the following year.
It always makes everybody feel better.
Yeah. So moving on.
My number 9 goes to Brian Daly's favorite Devil, Scott Stevens.
Wait a minute. That's his favorite Devil?
Because Ducks
Oh, yeah.
and Korea.
Sorry, the
And-
moment that I hear Scott Stevens, I just want to strangle people.
I know.
It really, you know how Dane Cook used to say there was a sound that made you want to punch infants? Scott Stevens is the name that makes me want to punch people. Like, seriously, that's basically what it's like for me. And yes, you can ding me a few points on the Dane Cook reference. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on. All right. You might make fun of me here,
Okay,
but had a great season last year with Dallas,
I like where this is going.
and I think he could repeat again. That's John Klingberg.
Honestly, I can't hate you for that. I will say, though, I think he's a little high.
Yes.
Just a
Yes.
wee bit too high for me.
But here's the thing. He finished third in points for a defenseman last year.
I
which
give him that
if
credit.
if you were to give me a top 3 for defenseman in points, I guarantee you would have not picked him.
I would not have picked him. But still, though, at the end of the day, I will say, judging on the whole body of work
Yes.
right now,
Yes.
a little high on
Yes.
that. But that's not always
Definitely.
his fault. I think the Stars also have a bit of that into play.
Exactly. Last season, though, 8 goals, 59 assists for a grand total of 67 points. Again, is more the reason why I have him up so high is because of his point production last season. Again, Dallas, we'll see what they come to this year, but that's why I have him at number 8. Slightly lower than where he was ending last season. So,
it'd be real interesting if the Dallas Stars won another Stanley Cup. And it'd be really scary if the Cowboys won a Super Bowl in the same year.
it
Oh my
won't
God.
happen. I could tell you the Cowboys are okay. No, the Redskins are probably worse. they lost their second running back again tonight, so they're not looking so pretty. Absolutely not.
Oh, God, that's funny.
Yeah.
But, God, if that did happen, I think the whole world would just be like, oh, God,
No.
please just shoot me now.
No,
I don't want to deal with it.
Absolutely won't happen at all.
By the way, Raska chimed in on the Cincinnati Bengals comment. He said Bengals was being really stupid against the Steelers with the brawl in the postseason.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I loved every minute of it because we won the game. I mean, we had nobody after that, but
I was completely dumbfounded that game. I'm like, you had the chance to win the game.
their first
remember-
playoff win in
Yeah.
25 years.
I remember
I'm not
sitting.
I cannot stand the Steelers, but I'm like, how? Just how do you blow that? Like,
Actually,
really?
the funny part of it is I remember watching that game live. It's one of the few times I ever watched a postseason game live. I was sitting down. My brother's over here, his friend's over here, and they're actually rooting for the Steelers. And it's the funniest thing. They were livid. They were drunk, and they were just pissed off their ass at Burfict. They were yelling, "Fuck you, Burfict, you piece of shit, and you're a
Yeah.
motherfucker." And I was just like, damn.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, that was my brother, too. My brother's an Eagles fan through and through, but it's
Yeah.
just like, he's getting mad. He's more mad than his friend who's the Steelers fan. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now?
That's why I loved every little bit of Juju's 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness last season when he knocked him out.
Oh God.
And stood over him, was like, "Fuck you."
That is funny as
Oh
shit.
man, standing O when he did that. I paid his fine for him.
There you go.
All right, moving on. You put your number 9 in, right? Frank?
Yes.
Yes, all right. So number 8. Oh, yeah, you did
Yeah.
Klingberg.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm losing track. Next up, my number 8. Brian Leetch of the New York Rangers. Major reason why is, yes, maybe not the leader of the team. Mark Messier was. However, without Brian Leetch, what else did they have? They had Boca Boom, but Boca Boom was kind of the more of the hitter on that team.
And you had Richter as well.
You had Richter as the goalie, but remember, goalie can only do so much. You need to have some goal scoring, and Leach was the goal scorer of that team, and Messier too, to a certain extent. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And maybe Graves, and that's it. They had nobody besides that. What do you think about that team on the Rangers? Because the very following year, they barely even made the fucking
Yeah.
playoffs. So it's like, damn, man, besides Messier, who the fuck did you have? And then you go to Leach, and then that's it. And then Richter. That was the kind of team that the Rangers had at that time. But, yeah, Brian Leach, absolutely deserving. A phenomenal player for the New York Rangers. One of the best to ever put on a blue sweater. Wished he was on the Flyers, but he wasn't.
You just wish everyone was on the Flyers.
Of course I do. If you don't wish the player who's on the other team is on your team, then you're not doing it right. Simple as that. How many people you wish were in Penguins jersey right now?
A few.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how many do you wish were in an Islanders jersey right now? Everyone.
Not much, because Garth Snow is an idiot, and he's gone, and I do not like Lou Lamoriello, so I'm going to jump ship back to the Flyers and follow them.
Oh, okay. So history made right here on A2D
Well,
Radio.
I've been following the Flyers more than the Islanders in the past couple of years.
I
so.
don't blame you there. I really don't blame you.
That's what happens when you start working
Incompetency!
It is for the win of the New York Islanders, one Barclays Center at a time. All right.
Say hello to Elmont, ladies and gentlemen. Yay. I heard the new arena is going to look nice, so
Wow.
I might pay a visit with El Padre and see an Islanders game.
There you go.
Yeah.
Post Tavares.
Post Tavares.
I think it's a post-mortem right now.
Pretty much.
For the New York Islanders. I feel so bad for them, too. It's just like, my God.
Yeah.
Like,
it's horrible.
I really do. They're the butt of every joke now. Like, seriously.
Like, I don't blame Tavares. Like, I as much as I follow the Islanders, I don't blame Tavares, like, for leaving.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't either.
It's the Islanders had every opportunity to build around him, and they failed to do so.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
It's an absolute shame with a great player like Tavares. Like, it amazes me. Like, you had guys like Thomas Vanek to build around him, but you were handcuffed to a crappy Rick DiPietro contract. You couldn't get a reliable goaltender.
Talk about a piece of shit.
Defense was struggling. Not enough scores. Everything was on Tavares.
Yeah.
Not only that, they tried to put guys like Matt Molson around him and everything, and since then, Molson had done shit. Because clearly elevated by Tavares' game on that one, but it's just, that team they had one restart after another that didn't work out for them. So
and this one's going to be a very lengthy restart. And speaking of the Islanders, my number 8, Dennis Potvin.
Oh, well, there you go. Mr. Dennis Potvin of the legendary Islanders.
One of my dad's favorite players that sported an Islander sweater.
Yes,
Nice.
The Islanders, many of the phenomenal players they had in the early 1980s, ending one dynasty.
Talk
going
about
on
a
to
dynasty.
another.
Yeah.
Yeah, that team, from 1980 on, no one could think of a team that could beat them. And finally, the Oilers showed up to do it. Oddly enough, from blue, white, and orange to another blue, white, and orange. But anyway, on to you, Mr. Klinke, for what you got.
We were just talking about him earlier, but PK Subban at number 7. You know, he's another guy who's just phenomenal, but 16 goals, 43 assists last year, 59 points overall, finished 8th in point department. We already talked about him earlier. There's not much more to say. I mean, he's a great player. It's just...
Is it because of what we talked about earlier
Yes.
that he's not as high?
Yes,
Yeah,
because
okay,
he could be, again, these next 7 guys, I think you could scramble, they're in there.
Yeah.
It definitely, he could be anywhere. He could be possibly the best defenseman in the league, but right now I don't think he is going into this season anyway. So, number 7, PK Subban.
Yep, that is true. PK Subban on to that one. My number 7, Al McInnes of the Calgary Flames. Major factor in them winning a Stanley Cup back in the day and was the focal point of their defense at that time. Mr. Vespi?
My number 7, Doug Harvey.
Doug Harvey. Okay, then. Back in the day type.
Back in the day.
Nice.
Kicking it back.
And, we got a chime in from Roska saying, remember Vanek went to the Islanders? He should be alongside with Tavares.
And they screwed that up.
They did.
I forgot what they traded for when they traded Thomas Vanek. Like,
I don't think it was anything, to be honest.
I don't think it was anything, to be honest. I don't remember.
I
remember when that trade happened. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah, they traded Thomas. They got Thomas Vanek from the Sabres, and it's just
Yeah,
like
it was like a
what the fuck for?
yeah, exactly.
Like Vanek's like, okay, Vanek's still a pretty solid veteran, but it's like he's a veteran who is probably not going to contribute as much as he used to. It's not like he's 20 years old when he's playing for the fucking Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah.
Like, come
Right.
on now.
Oh, all right. I found how he was traded. He was traded to the Canadiens
Oh, the Canadians.
for Sebastian
okay.
Kohlberg and a second-round draft pick.
Yeah, well, that
Oh,
didn't
for
work.
nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
nothing.
yeah, Christ almighty.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Frostin one says Matt Molson. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how Matt Molson wound up on the Sabres.
Mhm.
That didn't help them.
Good old days.
Yeah. All right, number 7 for you has been put in.
Yes.
Now we go to number 6.
6. This is where I have your man, Shane Gostisbehere.
Ah, nice. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, he is the best young defenseman in the league right now. The numbers say it, 13 goals, 52 assists last season. He had 65 total points, ranked 4th among defensemen. I mean, you could speak on my behalf. I mean, he is the best defenseman on the Flyers by far.
He
is the defensive leader.
Yeah, he is going to be the defensive leader.
Yeah.
I just wish he had a better veteran to fucking
Yeah,
learn,
to learn from.
than goddamn Andrew
But-
fuck off McDonald.
To be honest, what much more does he need to learn? Because he already seems like he's got it down.
Honestly, nothing really. However, though, I do think him getting a captaincy of the defense, I would like to see a better defenseman leader show him how it's
Yeah.
done, and then he can take over that position, and then he be in a better
Exactly.
spot. That's the only thing I really wished.
Yeah.
The only thing I disagreed with during the offseason is not getting a veteran D-man. But Shane Gostisbehere, though,
That's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault, and he is the future leader of this defense. They said that about him when he was drafted. They said it about him when he was playing in college, when he was in the World Juniors for the USA. They said this kid is going to quarterback a defense,
Yep.
and I'm looking forward to when he starts doing that for the Flyers.
Exactly. Great player.
All right, then. So, on to my number 6. This is where I have Mr. Dennis Potvin
All right.
right on over here. Major player for the Islanders and helping them win 4 straight Stanley Cups. Vespi.
My number 6, Paul Coffey.
I could go for some of that right now.
Get some Paul Coffey and Tim Hortons. Perfect.
I like it. I like it.
There you go. Put those guys on a team.
Mm-hmm.
You could call them.
You get a lot of cops.
Yeah. Yeah, you would.
You got my attention, I can tell you that.
You would. You put Coffee and you put Horton there on defense. You can call themselves Coffee and Donuts right
There
back
you
there
go.
on that defensive line.
Might be slow.
A little sluggish.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
Coffee will wake you up, but damn, the donuts are going to weigh you down.
Yeah, they are, man. Woo, a lot of carbs on them
Yes,
motherfuckers.
Yes.
All right, so on to number 5.
Number
Number
5.
Top 5.
Erik Karlsson is
Erik
my number
Karlsson,
5. Yeah, I mean, he's coming off a pretty solid season as well. 9 goals, 53 assists, ranked 6th among defensemen. Again, like I said, these next couple of guys, you could potentially argue that they're the best in the league. And he's one of them, obviously, but, where is he even at right now is the problem, because they said he was going to Vegas. They also said he was going to Tampa, but he hasn't officially been traded to anybody yet.
I don't know.
So right now, he's still a Senator. So
I mean,
this is why he's low on my list, because I didn't know where to put him.
well, we know for one thing, we know he doesn't want to stay in Ottawa.
Yes.
We know that much, and I
But-
don't fucking blame him. But, like...
But they got rid of Hoffman.
Yes, they did get rid of Hoffman.
Was it Hoffman?
I
Right, it
think
was Mike Hoffman that was
I
having
think
the problem,
it was
right?
Mike Hoffman on that one.
Okay.
I think you're right on that. But Ottawa getting rid of him, putting him forward on that... And they're saying, will Erik Karlsson get traded? I mean, honestly, he will. I
Yeah.
just, like...
But when, where,
When is
how?
that question, and to whom he's going to get
Yeah.
traded to?
So
It's almost like Ottawa. Either Carlson didn't want to go to Vegas, or he didn't want to go to Tampa, or maybe the price wasn't right. And
Yeah.
we were correct on Hoffman.
Okay.
And
That's what I thought it was.
well, you were correct on Hoffman, but honestly, I still think Carlson didn't want to go to either team. I think either that or the deal wasn't sweet enough for Ottawa to bite down on it.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Again, though, I was like, I get what you're saying, but you got to understand from the position you guys are in, Ottawa is now a retooling, rebuilding team.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to give them something.
Yeah.
They're not going to give up Carlson for a sack of pucks. He's not worth that. He's worth a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Vegas doesn't necessarily need him either. I think Tampa might need him more only because of Hedman's injury problems. So I think they may benefit. Don't get me wrong. I think Vegas will need him in the near future, but I think right now I would say Tampa would want him more because that would probably put them over the hump and get them to where they need to go. Because that way, if Hedman goes down, you have Carlson. Mm-hmm. You're like, thank God we got Carlson,
Exactly.
But moving forward.
Number 5.
Yes, number 5 for me. First, few comments. Roska chimed in. Vanek should have traded to the Ducks back in 2014. Be real interesting if Daly was here. Nitro Freak saying the Flyers greater than everyone. I'm down with that. And Froston, of course, was talking about will Erik Karlsson be traded, and he said yes, Mike Hoffman. Now, moving on to my number
5.
5, yes. Sorry, comment rolled in right then. He said Ottawa also has to give up this year's first-round pick because of Duchesne trade. Yes, that is true. I forgot all about that. That is another
How did that trade go well for them?
Yeah, remember when I thought Duchesne was going to make them better?
Yeah,
hasn't worked at all.
Didn't work out at all.
Nope.
Woo! Tell you, man, Ottawa.
Trash.
How about them Senators? Cannot seem to get anything going out there. Moving on.
Not at all.
Number 5 for me, Nicholas Lidstrom.
Well-deserving.
One of the major contributing factors and probably the contributing factor to the Detroit Red Wings dynasty player. Pretty much has it retired. This man was the embodiment of the Detroit Red Wings during that era. When you think of that era of Red Wings hockey, you think either Steve Wee or Nicholas Lidstrom. You think of those two. That's how phenomenal he was.
Yeah.
Number 5 for you, Vespi.
Ray Bourque.
Wow, you got him. Wow, I'm surprised he's not up a little bit more.
It is very tough.
All right, I'm surprised. But all right.
If I could rearrange my top 5, I could just have them all 1A, 1B, 1C.
That is a good point. Yeah, you are correct.
It was that tough. But at this point, I went by cups a little bit for my top 5. Ray Bourque, great defenseman, had the 1 cup. I don't blame the Bruins. Well, blame the Bruins for that, but one of the greatest defensemen of all time. I wish he could have had at least another piece of hardware to add to his collection. He would have been up just a couple notches.
Gotcha.
So I have Bourque at 5.
All right, then. Number 4.
Number 4, I'm going to throw in Mr. Drew Doughty of the LA Kings. Last season, he had 10 goals, 50 helpers, 60 total points, ranked 7th amongst defensemen. The Kings were a little shaky last year, but then again, every goal was a 1-goal game, and I think the Knights only scored, 6 or 7 total goals in that whole series in the first round. So, and obviously he's a big contributor of that. So, hence why I have Drew Doughty at number 4.
Number 4. All right, then. Well, Drew Doughty is the anchor of that team. I mean,
that's for damn sure.
When you think LA Kings defense, you think Drew Doughty.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we're
got no teeth.
Yeah, no teeth. He's got 2 cups on top of it. All right, moving on for me, I got number 4, Scott Niedermayer. Now, I will say this. I respect Scott Niedermayer, and I respect Marty Brodeur. They played for the other team, and I fucking hated them back then. But I've come full circle on them now.
It's different.
It's different with Niedermayer. I can forgive Niedermayer. I can't forgive somebody else.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
But moving on. But definitely deserving of being in the top 5 of anybody.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal player. Won 3 Stanley Cups with the New Jersey Devils, and he also wound up winning another Stanley Cup with the Anaheim Ducks on top of that, getting 4.
Yeah.
So, phenomenal career on his part.
Absolutely.
Mr. Vespi.
Big Bird himself, Larry Robinson.
Larry, wow, you put him high. Whew, I like that, actually. He was a tough man.
Was a tough man.
Big tough man back in the 70s.
Yeah.
All right, then. Now, on to number 3.
Number 3, Mr. New Stanley Cup champion, John Carlson.
Okay.
Yeah, John Carlson last season was ranked number 1 in points for defensemen. He had 15 goals, 53 assists for 68 total points. You know, just absolutely phenomenal defenseman. Quite honest, I'm surprised he stayed with the Capitals this season. But they paid him. They paid him.
He took the money.
And you know what? He deserves every penny of it because he's obviously, in my eyes, a top 3 defenseman and could very well be 2 or even number 1.
Yeah.
So he's absolutely phenomenal.
I will say this, too. I was surprised that Carlson decided to stay, but I think the moment they traded Brooks Orpik, that was the moment they said, okay, they're going to commit to Carlson, not Orpik.
Well, they were smart. They got rid of that contract and then brought him back for $2 million instead of the $5 million that they were paying him.
Which, by the way, Brooks Orpik is still a piece of shit for doing that, by the way.
Scumbag.
Absolute scumbag for doing that.
I don't respect him no more.
Yeah. I think you stopped respecting him when he put on that red jersey.
Yes.
So
well, when him and Niskanen both left
on
Pittsburgh.
That jersey? Yeah.
But the best part about it all was that we won 2 straight Stanley Cups and shoved it in their face, but now they got one back on us. So.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to get another one. So
I
really,
let's hope not.
Honestly,
Please, no.
I really don't think Washington will. Washington will get there, but I don't think they're going to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. They're going to find a way to get eliminated.
Let's hope not.
All right, my number 3, Mr. Paul Coffey, who played on the Edmonton Oilers, won 4 cups out there. Actually, he won 5. And then he wound up joining the Pittsburgh Penguins and won 2 over there as well. He actually even played for the Flyers, oddly enough, in the mid-'90s. The latter 90s, actually, at the latter portion of his career. Finished it off with the Detroit Red Wings. Throughout all that time, though, was a solid offensive defenseman. And on top of that, too, he actually stepped up his defensive play in the latter portion of his career when his offense started to twinge down a little
when
bit.
he could only focus on playing defense.
Yes, but, hey, he still played very solid defense, though, back in the day. So, Paul Coffey at number 3. Mr. Vespi.
Eddie Shore.
Eddie Shore, all right. Putting him at number 3.
The prototypical tough guy.
He was, and he was revolutionary at the defensive position.
Nice.
Okay.
Number 2, Chewbacca himself, Brent Burns.
Brent Burns.
You
Brent
had to throw a
Burns.
shark in there.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
It's
come
okay.
on.
At least it wasn't Joe Thornton.
It wasn't Joe. Come
Okay.
on.
But
Anything's better
let's
than
be
Joe.
real. Brent Burns is overall, he could score, he could play defense, he could do it all. But I do see one man better than him. But overall, he's absolutely phenomenal. He's a guy that I would love to see in Pittsburgh. Obviously won't ever be there, but he's just absolutely insane. He's one of my favorite players, honestly, that isn't a Penguin that,
He would be the only guy I'd probably cry tears if he shaved. I'd be like,
yes.
Why?
It's so
Why
funny
did you
seeing
get rid
pictures
of
of him when
that?
he was drafted, though, because he looks like a child.
And he has no beard.
Yes,
Yeah.
no beard, and
Oh,
now he just
God.
looks like a fool.
Yes.
No teeth,
He looks
and hasn't shaved in years.
He looks like a hobo.
Yes,
out
literally.
there on the ice.
I love his
Oh,
pictures,
God.
though. It's just literally, it's just all gums.
Yeah, literally. No teeth, all beard. It's
Yep.
just, that is a hockey player
Yes,
right there. If you want to know what a hocky player looks like,
Look
he looks
up Brent
like
Burns.
Brent Burns.
Yes.
That's what a hockey player looks like.
Just how with that teeth? Really?
Oh,
get
man.
a dentist. Damn
no, because then
He's a millionaire. He
I
should
know,
be able to
he-
afford dentures,
he-
damn it.
it. He needs teeth. It scares me.
No. Wait till the end of his career, and then he gets teeth. Hey, come on. Bobby didn't always have full set of teeth back in the day. He waited till after his career to get those implants put in. But anyway, so with that, we go to my number 2. My number 2 is Mr. Ray Bork.
Borkity, bork.
Bork.
I just can't look at players with missing teeth. Multiple teeth. It freaks me out.
It's literally like the forefront teeth,
Yeah,
and then
it's
it just
there.
goes right to his
yeah,
canines.
it's like the canines, and then there's nothing there. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it was just like Bobby Clark's smile, too, back in the day.
And there was like some
no teeth.
There was
on
like some
there.
dentistry
Yeah.
photos I was looking at. I'm like, come on.
Good old Jack Ham photos,
Yeah.
too. Look up him. God
Oh,
damn it.
God. What was it? Dustin Brown. He's missing teeth.
Oh, yeah, Dustin Brown looks like a fool, too.
Yeah, well, who else is
Sean Couturier.
Sean Couturier.
He's 22 years old and has no
There
teeth.
should be like a rule where
He's
like
got a Bobby Clark smile.
they, like all the players should like have all their teeth ripped out and just have dentures.
Yeah.
Just
Who else did-
dentures.
Danny Carcillo had no
Yeah.
freaking teeth.
It's horrible.
Christ, man.
I treasure my teeth. I'd be so upset.
I'm fine with one,
Yeah.
but a whole row. No. no.
Oh, you gotta love hockey. The only
Yeah.
place where having no teeth means you're a man.
Yeah.
Moving on.
We're
So
getting into a hockey fight.
That's true. Ray Bork. Oddly enough, though, I think Ty Domi kept all of his teeth. Oddly enough. And so did Donald Brashear, of all fucking people. Like, how the fuck did those guys keep a
All he
full
did was
row
fight.
of teeth and all
Yeah.
they did was fucking fight? But anyway. So with that being said, Froston says Brent Burns looks like a Cali team when drafted. But anyway, so Ray Bork at number 2, deservingly so,
Yeah.
was the main man for Boston for a while. And moving on to you, Mr. Vespi.
Also from the great land of Sweden, Nicholas Lindstrom.
Nicholas Lidstrom
Yeah.
at number 2.
Yep.
Definitely deserves a spot in the top 5.
Here we go, number
wherever he
1.
goes.
Number 1 for me. He's in the thumbnail. Victor Hedman.
Victor Hedman. All right.
I mean, obviously he's one of the best pure defensemen in the league. And obviously he could do it all too. He had 17 goals last season and 46 assists. So he's got talk about a ripper. His slap shot is scary. He just, he could score, like I said, and he's just one of the best overall defensemen in the league.
Yeah. That's why he's the thumbnail, looking like his life is over
Yep.
playing in Tampa. All right, moving on to my number 1. I don't think this is any real case Vespi. I think you got the same guy.
Yes, Bobby Orr.
Yes, I think we all knew that was coming. I don't think we really need to say anything. He has the most iconic image in the history of hockey. It's right outside the TD Bank North Gardens. And it's one of the most celebrated photos in the history of pro wrestling. Pro hockey. I just saw David Roski chimed in with a pro wrestling comment, God damn it. Apparently Jeff Jarrett is suing Impact Wrestling, interesting enough. And with that being said, though, Bobby Orr, not much you could say. 2 Stanley Cups, legendary player, revolutionized the game.
Wish he could play longer.
Wish he had played on my team.
Yeah.
But did not.
Right?
Of course, when he came into the league, my team didn't exist. But anyway. Actually, I don't think none of our teams exist at that time, back in that time. Wow, ain't that
67.
weird? Whew, that is weird. But anyway, so with that being said, that is our top 20 defensemen. I think we hit a decent amount of NHL news. I think it's time we rallied this one back on home. It's time for last call.
Last call.
So with that being said,
What is on next week's show?
next week's show we will be doing goalies,
Yes.
and that should be a fun. We'll
How
go
are we
back.
going to do?
Fun.
Top 15?
I was gonna say top 10 back to it.
Okay.
I was only adding on another 10 because of just how many defensemen, and it
Okay.
wouldn't be
No,
fair.
we can do
yeah.
top 10. Top 10.
Yeah,
is-
we'll do top 10 goalies next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could see a lot of controversy with the goalies.
Some
That
will
is going to be tough.
Hey,
That
some
is
are gonna
tough.
slip through the 5-hole. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about
Now,
it.
Without a doubt.
now I know you were bringing it up before the show. What will you guys gonna do after goalies?
Well, you know what? I think by then, it would be time to preview each team.
Yeah.
So I think we'll
Oh.
dive into previewing the 31 teams in the NHL.
Because 30 wasn't even enough.
Yes. and-
Thanks, Batman.
Think about it. There's at least one team every night that doesn't play. Isn't it a shame?
I
It
know.
is a shame. It's a big shame.
Sad.
We can't go back to the days where every team played. Oh
Mhm.
well, it is what it is.
Come on, put in a new team.
So with
Come on,
that,
Seattle.
with that
Blame
being
Batman.
said,
Piece of shit.
Thanks, Batman.
motherfucker. Anyway, so with that being said, folks, that'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We thank you all for joining us, and for all of you who did comment on YouTube, Frostin1, David Raska, and Nitro Freak. We hope to see you guys next week on Thursday. Once again, we might be coming to you at an earlier time. We'll keep you guys posted on that.
Yep.
But With that being said, though, Hockey Happy Hour was brought to you by Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. This has been the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com. I'm Matt Tsutsuti. That's Mikey the Penguin Lovin' Klankoff. Frank Vesby behind the board.
DJ Khaled.
We will see you all next Thursday.
Another one.
Right here on A2DRadio.com.
Deuces.
Peace, everyone.